I will be presenting Section 3, the impact of foreign aid and trade on Brazil. The first slide demonstrates a poverty cycle in Brazil. Due to a lack of education, those in poverty have no knowledge of contraception and will therefore have many children to take care of. This overpopulation will result in a shortage of jobs and force the provider of the family to take on a minimum wage occupation in order to support their family. However, due to the growing family, they will be unable to provide enough, and so the children will have to work. But because the children will have to work, they will not be able to complete school and will suffer the same lack of education as their parents, which will cause the cycle to continue. Barriers to economic growth and development that Brazil face are the massive government-founded and funded firms that compete with non-government firms, diverting funds that would normally go to the latter to the former. Also, Brazil's trade policy of high imports tariffs ranging from 11.5 to 15% has helped foster protectionism within Brazil. There is also an extremely uneven distribution of income, energy, and infrastructure, which leaves most of the country in poverty and does not have access to infrastructure that would help them escape this poverty. Also, Brazil still heavily relies on imports for their energy. Brazil has many bilateral trade agreements, the most major of these being Brazil's trade agreement with Venezuela, in which they are working together to develop bilateral natural gas facilities so that they no longer have to be dependent on natural gas from overseas. The next major bilateral trade agreement is the one with the European Union, which is Brazil's biggest foreign investor and trading partner with 22.5% of total trade. Brazil is also the largest exporter of agricultural products and commercial services to the European Union, which 12% of the European Union's total imports. Brazil's relationship with China includes dozens of trade agreements to cooperate on helping each other develop their economies, technologies, and infrastructures. China is also Brazil's second biggest trading partner with 12.6% of total trade. Next is Brazil's agreement with the Philippines to reduce protectionism in both their countries and work together to develop alternative sources of energy. Finally, there is Brazil's trade agreement with Argentina. Now, the relationship with Argentina is the highest priority of Brazil's foreign policy. This relationship also founded the basis of the Mercosur Agreement, as well as the Agency for Accounting and Control of Nuclear Materials, which is a bilateral agreement to use nuclear technology for only beneficial purposes. Brazil has many multilateral trade agreements, its main one being the Mercosur Agreement, which is between all South American countries, but mainly between Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. It is designed to promote free trade between all South American nations and requires that member and associate nations keep low trade barriers between themselves. The World Trade Organization is the next organization Brazil is a part of, and this organization is designed to help producers, importers, and exporters of goods and services internationally. Next is the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna, which is an agreement to ban commercial international trade of endangered species. Next is the Rio Group, which is designed to promote representation of and coordinate economic and political policies between Latin American countries. Next is the Latin American Integration Association, which is an agreement to create an international market between Latin American countries. Finally, there's the IPSA Dialogue Forum, which is designed to promote trade and cooperation in developing technology and infrastructure between all member countries. What is most interesting about Brazil is that despite being a major contributor and a developing nation, Brazil receives very little foreign aid from other countries. Brazil's bilateral aid in 2010 was estimated to be $860 million, while its multilateral aid was estimated to be $325 million. Brazil's foreign policy tends to be more focused on export promotion. In 2010, its total import worth was $182 billion, while its total export worth was $202 billion. It has stated itself that it is a multilateral-oriented country, and it is the second largest investor in terms of FDI compared to other developing nations. All of its businesses are internationally oriented, and it is one of the largest foreign aid providers in the world. However, it also has low tariffs on all exports, but mid to high tariffs on all imports, as demonstrated in the graph below. Multinational corporations operating in Brazil, both foreign and native. The foreign ones include Chevron, Texaco, Nestle, PepsiCo, Ford, DuPont, Dell, IBM, Verizon, Volkswagen, and General Motors. The native multinationals include Companhia Vale do Rio Doce, Petrobras S.A., Gerdau S.A., Embraer, Votorantim Participações S.A., Companhia Siderúrgica Nacional, Arrugas Celulose, WEG, Camarago, and Camarago Korea S.A. The impact of multinationals on Brazil is very interesting. Originally, multinationals caused Brazil to have the highest deforestation rate in the world until the government drastically reduced it starting in 2005. The foreign multinational corporations are few in number and have had so far limited negative and positive impact because they, until recently, were not interested in operating in Brazil. In order to operate in Brazil, MNCs also must meet another requirement, which requires them to share their technology with native firms. This forces multinational corporations to compete with local enterprises, and Brazil is the only country in the world, besides the United States of America, to successfully convince multinational corporations to do so. By doing so, Brazil is lowering the quantity demanded by the natives from these foreign multinational corporations from demand curve 1 to demand curve 2, as illustrated in the chart below.